Hi, I'm Tim. Join me in this video and I'm going to describe to you how now, this is being filmed in October of 2023, this is truly the golden age of RC flight. It's the best it's ever been. Let's get to it. We're at an inflection point with radio control model airplanes. This is being filmed in October of 2023. There is an explosion of growth of commercial unmanned aircraft. The future forecast of this business is in the tens of billions of dollars, only growing up. And the goal of these commercial unmanned aircraft is completely integrated operations in the National Airspace System between their unmanned aircraft and manned aircraft. That's going to require a lot of work, a lot of technology. The very first step, which is a jolt to all RC modelers, was remote ID. Remote ID is a security issue where you have a transmitter on your RC model aircraft that identifies the position, the takeoff location, some other information on the flight. The remote ID ruling will come into full effect on March 16th, 2024. So until then, it's ops normal flying RC models. After March 16th, 2024, if you are a recreational flyer and your model is over 250 grams, about 8.8 ounces, you've got to register the model and you fly with a remote ID capability, either installed in the factory or with a module, or you fly inside an FAA recognized identification area, typically an AMA club, then you continue flying. And if your model is less than 8.5 ounces, like this guy at about 3 ounces, you don't register it, there's no remote ID, you just fly as you normally have. I've been dealing with the FAA for over 52 years. Between my time flying in the Air Force as a commercial airline pilot, I've dealt with as many regulations as anybody viewing this video. The remote ID ruling, the regulation, is a non-event. Once we get that in place, you just go ahead and fly before, and if you're at a FRIA, you don't even have to do anything. There's a lot of people that take exception to this, and I just do not understand what their concerns are, because they're talking about getting out of the hobby. I can't take this anymore. And I truly believe, and I'll tell you in this video, how this is the best time ever to fly radio control model airplanes. We are right now in the golden age of RC flight. Those of you that remember the days when somebody didn't pick up a frequency pin, turned on their transmitter, shot you down. You spent an entire day at the field trying to get your gas engine working. You couldn't do it. You crash your model in the middle of the summertime. There's no quality, almost ready to fly models to get to replace it. This is the best time ever to fly radio control model airplanes. So let's talk about 12 reasons. Reason number one why right now, 2023, is the best time to be flying radio control model airplanes: money. We're all concerned about money. In the past, radio control flight you had to be a wealthy person to really enjoy it. Back when I first started flying RC in 1972, a friend down the road, his dad bought him a Kraft Signature 4-channel radio control set. It was about $400 back then. Corrected for inflation, that is $2,800 today. Just imagine $2,800 for a 4-channel radio, no computer radio. Just went in one airplane, you could not program the transmitter to another aircraft. That's how much RC sets cost back in 1972. Today, you can buy a FlySky transmitter off of Amazon for $60, includes a receiver, and if you want a nice Spektrum 6-channel DX6E radio, that's about $250. A little bit different than the way it was back in 1972. For the younger flyers out there, there was a time when we didn't have our modern radios on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. The radios were on frequencies either 27 megahertz or 72 megahertz. The 27 megahertz, the early radios, could be jammed by a citizens band radio. 72 megahertz are a little bit better, but you were on one frequency. And so what would happen is you'd have to be very careful to have a frequency pin board at the field to make sure when you took the pin, you were the only one that could be on, say, channel 38. If somebody didn't do this properly, did not take a pin, turned on their transmitter while you were on the same frequency, they would jam each other and you would crash. It was not at all uncommon to hear somebody go, "I'm hit," as their plane goes down because somebody inadvertently turned on their transmitter on the same frequency. Today, with 2.4 gigahertz radios that was introduced by Spektrum in 2005, due to a bunch of computer magic, when you turn on your radio and it's binded or paired with your receiver, you don't worry about anything. There's no interference. You could have 15 or 20 people flying at the same time without interference. That is a huge benefit we just take for granted these days. Just makes flying all that more fun and relaxing without worrying about somebody being on your frequency and causing interference and a crash. Reason number 3, it's a great time to fly: programmable computer transmitters. Back in the 70s, 80s, there were no computers that existed for transmitters. It was just an electronic device. It generated a signal and you controlled your airplane. You couldn't reverse servos, you couldn't adjust the throw, you couldn't do mixing with elevons. All the things we take for granted with our computer radios, you couldn't do. Also, the transmitter was with one flight pack. If you had 3 models, typically you'd have 3 transmitters, 3 flight packs. You could not program a model into your radio because it didn't have a computer. These days, with my DX6 transmitter, it's very typical. I can program 250 models into the memory, bind them each with an individual receiver in that model, and fly them just totally separate models with the same transmitter. That is an incredibly good deal for flexibility and to save money. Reason number 4 is CA, or cyanoacrylate glues. These instant glues, sometimes called super glues, are changed everything with building RC model airplanes. Now we can do glues, especially with an accelerator. They bond almost instantly, very strong joints. You can even make repairs at the field if needed. In the past, we used Elmer's, Tight Bond, just regular glues, but the important thing with these regular glues, they had to dry overnight. So you'd carefully pin all your balsa parts in place, put on the glue, and then you were done for the day. You had to wait overnight for the glue to dry. CA glues have just made building an incredibly fast and easier experience. The 5th reason it's a great time to fly RC models, again 2023, is the internet. The internet really didn't exist for regular users until about 1995 or so. Before that time, the only way to get information on how to build, fly, do anything with RC models, there were 2 ways. You either read it in a magazine or you found out from a local person at your club or RC hobby shop on how to do something. There was no other way to get information. Now we have the internet, discussion groups, chat boards, and of course YouTube. Remember, the first YouTube video was put out in 2005. And just think about all the information we get from YouTube to include this video. That source of information just did not exist before 1995 or so for the internet, and then for 2005 for YouTube. Also, things as simple as ordering your various equipment items or airplanes from the mail order hobby shops. Tower Hobbies came out late 70s, early 80s, but before the internet, there was just this huge catalog Tower put out every year. It had every single item in the store in that catalog. When you wanted to order, you just write it down on a piece of paper with the catalog number, and you called in to a toll-free number, spoke to an operator, and you verbally told that person what you wanted, and it showed up in the mail later. There was no way to order online, because online didn't exist. Reason number 6, this is a great time to fly radio control models, is quality ARFs, or almost ready to fly models. Now, ARFs have kind of existed since the late 1970s. They were small production runs, typically of a fiberglass plastic nature. A lot of vibration everyone was a gas engine in there, and they weren't super high quality. They didn't fly all that great. These days, that's completely changed. Anybody can get a quality, almost ready to fly model. Very often, these ARFs are cheaper than if you were to build it on your own. The quality is sky high, they look good, they fly good, and virtually everybody has an ARF, to include me, somewhere in their flying fleet. It's a very nice option to have in your RC model flying activities. Reason number 7, Lipo batteries and brushless electric motors. Electric RC flight has been around since the late 1970s, realistically. Used very heavy NiCad batteries and brushed electric motors that were low power. Typically, they were geared, just trying to get the airplane to fly. A successful flight in those early days of electric flight is a plane that just didn't crash if you could fly it for 4 or 5 minutes. They just had very low performance as a general rule and were real niche. With the introduction of powerful, lightweight lithium polymer batteries and brushless motors, the electric-powered aircraft could do anything in terms of performance, to include electric ducted fan bottles. It's just truly amazing how much the electric motors have taken over the RC hobby. These days, when somebody shows up in the field with a gas motor, it's almost an unusual event. People kind of stop what they're doing to hear a little bit of history of what, with the gas engines, what everybody used to have to power their RC model aircraft. Reason number 8 is micro indoor RC model airplanes. Now, it's a constant in the computer industry. Computer stuff gets lighter, smaller, and cheaper over time. We benefit from that with our RC models, with these electric-powered micro indoor models. They just didn't exist until about the early 2000s. Now you can get an almost ready-to-fly model that can be flown indoors easily. They fly very well. This is a great option to have to be able to fly indoors. I know when I spent a period of time living in the Chicago area. Wonderful place to live in, but the winters were tough. They were windy, they were cold. It was really nice to be able to enjoy model airplane radio control flying when we could do it indoors at a field house with these wonderful indoor ready-to-fly models that, by the way, are very affordable. Reason number 9, smartphones. Everybody has a smartphone. Smartphones did not exist until January of 2007, when Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone to the world. Before then, people had portable mobile phones. They were typically flip phones. You could make a call on them, but you couldn't access the internet, and most of them did not have cameras. Now with smartphones, there's videos being taken with an iPhone. Everybody takes pictures, videos. You can get information on RC model aircraft. You can place orders. The smartphone has really revolutionized the enjoyment of RC flying and allowing us to get information and share that information in our experiences with other modelers. It really is a neat feature of RC flying today. Reason number 10 is a great time to enjoy RC flying is Amazon, Amazon.com. Amazon was started by Jeff Bezos on July 5th, 1994. For you trivia buffs out there, it was originally just a bookstore. All they sold was books. Clearly, they sell a lot more than books right now. We always support our local hobby shop, but if there's something your hobby shop doesn't have, or the hobby shop is closed, or you can't get to it, Amazon is a wonderful source for all sorts of stuff for the radio control hobby. Building supplies, glues, foam board, servos. There's a wide range of stuff at Amazon, and it's just you can order it easily, have it delivered, and you're off and running for your RC flying activities. Amazon is a nice gap filler to make sure that we have everything we need for the enjoyment of this hobby. Reason number 11, RC, we're in a very good time, is computers and computer-aided design. Traditionally, plans were drawn by hand. They were beautiful plans, but they were just one plan on a piece of paper. These days, with the computer-aided design programs, you have a computer file. The plans can be drawn very quickly, incredibly accurately, but more important, all these parts that are drawn out can be transferred over to laser cutting machines for Balzer or other machines to build the foam molds for these models. The CAD allows accuracy, quick building, and facilitates the construction of ARF kits and almost ready-to-fly models. Without the CAD capabilities, just about all the ARFs we enjoy today just would not be affordable or available in the quantities that we desire. The 12th reason it's a great time to fly RC are RC flight simulators. In commercial aviation, the simulator business has completely revolutionized training. You actually take your check ride at a jet aircraft in a simulator. The first time you touch the real aircraft for an actual flight with passengers in the back is after you've taken your check ride in the simulator. A very similar thing is happening with RC Flight. There's any number of companies that produce simulator programs. These are excellent programs to try to fly a variety of aircraft, maybe some high-performance aircraft you haven't done before. You can practice maneuvers, you can fly with other people. It has just changed everything for the enjoyment of our hobby. And what a nice option to have to fly your airplanes on a windy, rainy day when there's no flying going on in the activity or you're on travel, to be able to use a computer-based simulator to practice your RC techniques. Thank you for joining me in this video. I really think this is the best time ever for RC model flying. It's affordable. There's an incredibly wide range of products out there. A lot of people can enjoy the hobby now due to these conditions. Remote ID is just one regulation. It is not that big a deal. A lot of people are getting pretty spun up on it. It is not the death of the hobby. Just go out, have a good time, enjoy it. Buy the module if you have to. Join an AMA club, fly in the free if that's close to where you are, and just enjoy this great hobby. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.